So today I want to talk to you about a principle that I truly believe in called Occam's razor. So Occam's razor states that the simplest solution is typically the best solution. Okay, so I was watching a video yesterday that really truly reinforced this belief of mine, and it's Veritasiums video on the shade balls that they use at the LA Reservoir. By the way, you can see Veritasiums video. We have a link in the description. You got to go check that out. It's pretty cool stuff. So anyway, so I'm going to kind of give you the gist of it. So what they had was they had bromide in the water. Bromide is harmless. So then they take the water that has bromide in it and they disinfect it with ozone. Also harmless, okay? And of course, they also put chlorine in the water. They were testing it. Everything's fine. So the issue that they were having is the water was being filtered, treated, and then put into reservoir, okay? Then they found out that they had high levels of bromate in the water. Bromate causes cancer. Bad deal, right? So they're like, what's going on here? What's causing this and why are we having this? Not only that, how do we fix it? So they did some testing. They found out that the bromide mixed with the chlorine and sunlight would cause bromate. So they had to remove one at least, okay? Well, they can't remove bromide because that's in the water. That's just in there, right? Chlorine, well, they need that. They need to treat it. So the easiest one would be to remove sunlight, okay? So obviously the reservoir is open. So they experimented with multiple ideas, right? So the options that they had was to put tarps over the water, okay? That would eliminate the sunlight. However, it was very costly and it would take a very long time to do, and it's just not very feasible. The other idea they played around with was building canopies over the entire reservoir, almost like a trampoline. The problem is they said, well, man, we're going to have a lot of birds land on here, and you can imagine the issues that was going to cause. So then they thought, well, you know what, we can take some plastic pipes and just throw them in the water, and the pipe itself would, if you throw enough in there, you know, that they float, they would cover the surface of the water. Well, the problem is the pipe was very expensive and it's hard for them to self-align enough to cover the entire surface. So what they ended up doing is getting some what they call shade balls. They're just black balls, plastic balls, and they just threw them in the water, right? And of course, they threw 96 million balls in the water. It covered the entire surface of the water. The beauty about the balls is when the water rises, and on the banks of the reservoir, when the water comes down, the balls simply roll off into the water. So you don't have any issues of anything getting stuck up there. So, you know, the balls stay with the water up and down. The other issue they had was, how are we going to, you know, these are plastic balls, right? And there's a major highway right next to the reservoir. So like, how are we going to keep these balls from flying off in a high wind situation? So I was asking this to Daniel yesterday, and Daniel said, well, you have to link them together somehow, or you have to maybe put a net over them. And, you know, and the simplest solution was just add some water to all the balls, right? So they added about a quarter to half water inside every ball, and now the water weighs them down, and they're sitting on top of water, so it's not a problem. Again, simple solutions. The most simple solution was the easiest, and it was the correct one. Now, the other problem is the balls are black, okay? So the plastic used for the balls, it's food grade, it's safe, but it's pretty much the same stuff your milk jug is made out of. The problem is, being white or clear, the sun would really beat on them and they wouldn't last very long. So they added something called carbon black. That's the color of so they added a powder, and the byproduct was a black ball, okay? That's what's gonna last the longest. Well, the other issue that they worried about was, being that the balls are black, it's going to heat up the water too much, right? So they did some more testing. Well, the beauty of it is, it's a black ball, however, it has air inside. And just like a double pane window, it was keeping the heat from transferring through the ball into the water. So through the testing that they did, they found out that the water exposed to the sunlight was actually warmer than water with the shade balls in it. So again, very simple solution. It took a lot of balls, literally 96 million of them. But I mean, they solved the problem. Now, these balls, they call them shade balls now, but they were actually called bird balls. And the reason they were using them is airports, around airports, ponds and stuff. They would throw those balls in there and keep the birds from landing and, you know, causing issues with the airplanes and such. So anyway, Occam's razor. It's simple. You have to think simple. Okay, that's where you got to start. And when that doesn't work, then you have to kind of expand from there. But it's really a simple solution, you know. But you know what? It took care of the problem, and there you go. It was not a lot of trouble. It was not as much trouble as having to, you know, build all the other options that they had. So, and it was quick. Go watch Veritasium's video. Subscribe to his channel. He has some really good stuff. I enjoy his channel. So anyway, enough of that. We'll see you next time. I'm Erik, and we are Texas Barndominiums.